What a ball game in the Bahamas. Head body between Wake Forest and Texas Tech. Multiple lead changes and ties. Exactly what you want in a game during feast week, right? Texas Tech comes out on top 84-83. Hey, controversial finish towards the end there. JT Toppin turned the ball over at the 3-point line, which resulted in a 2-on-1 for Wake Forest. Nate Calmise, who's going to be a name that we discuss a little bit here in this recap, he threw up a lob and there seemed to be contact, J-Man, but no call was made. And eventually Tech puts away Wake Forest. J-Man, let's work backwards. All right. Did you think that was a foul on that alley oop?
Subi, that's a great question. One way I could for sure answer that if CBS Sports Network showed a damn replay
Oh
because
my God.
it was the biggest play of the game, and I tweeted it. CBS Sports just did not show the replay as Steve Forbes is losing his mind. A timeout happens or a foul happens. There's so much dead time, and they're not showing. They kept showing the replay of the foul at half court after the play that was totally irrelevant to the situation right now. And CBS Sports, whoever ran that truck, I'm mad at you. You owe all of us an explanation why there was no replay because I don't know if it was a foul. That's the problem. I'm gonna go off Steve Forbes' reaction and say it was a foul, though it was right in front of him and he's trying to get the call. Regardless, I do think that was a bad lob, though. Don't throw that. And I think Forbes is trying to get bailed out. So I'm giving you both answers right now. It was a foul. Actually, it was a bad decision. I'm gonna say it was a bad decision. It was just you can't throw that lob.
Doug, I'm so glad you brought that up. I thought I was the only one who was thinking about the replay snafu. I'm just like, this is what they overcomplicate things. I don't want to belabor this, but they probably think, oh man, everyone's thinking, is this a flagrant or is this a take foul or whatever it is on Wake Forest? No, dude, we don't care. Like that was a bang bang physical play. I doubt they're gonna call that anything more than just a common foul. We want to see what happened the
Yeah.
play prior, right? I thought upon first look, because you're right, we didn't get a replay, but upon first look, it did look like there was some contact there, and Tech might have gotten away with one there. So let's talk about this game though. Tech, it like what a fun ball game, but let's start here. Tech gave up a 10-0 run to end the first half with JT Toppin on the bench, and that actually turned out to be an extended 14-0 run from Wake. As it spilled over into after the intermission, right? It was sloppy from Texas Tech out of the break. But what I was shocked about, and I've seen Grant McCaslin blow up, like Mount McCaslin has erupted before. He was very calm, especially during the last stretch. What did you see during that little stretch where Tech obviously they end up winning the game, but that's the stretch that got Wake back in it.
Yeah, I mean JT Toppin was out, and then Donovan Atwell picked up his fourth with 19 minutes to go in the game. He had three fouls in the first half, so like you didn't even get him on the floor. He only played 17 minutes. By the way, 3 of 6 from the field, 3 of 6 from three, so he still has one made 2 point shot all year. Just the stats going to keep. We got to look back at this every Texas Tech game, but I just saw an aggressive Wake Forest team. I mean, I thought they were. I text you. I thought it was kill shot 13-3. I was like, all right, pack it up, Wake. Like this is just Texas Tech is going to find their rhythm. And kudos to Wake Forest, just to battle back. I mean, they only had 8 turnovers in the game, and I thought Texas Tech's defense was going to really disrupt them more than they did. But honestly, it was Wake Forest's defense that was the one that was just causing havoc. 14 turnovers for Texas Tech, and that's really how Wake Forest is getting in the game. It was just Texas Tech was running this pick and roll every time with Christian Anderson. Even when JT Toppin wasn't in, it was just pick and roll with Christian Anderson. You go make a decision. Toppin was in, and the way that Wake Forest really crowded the middle of the floor in this ball screen action caused havoc for Texas Tech, where they turned the ball over or they had to shoot tough shots. And hats off to Jalen Petty because he hit some tough shots for Texas Tech when they needed them, and he's really kind of a low key MVP for them with 11 points off the bench. But I just thought Wake Forest just they're really tough. I mean, it looks like they're laid out for dead. Maybe it's because I watched so much Wake last year where it did happen, where they got punched in the mouth and they just could never come back. This team, I mean, they have 2 losses by combined 2 points to top 15 teams, and they're here to stay. Like this team is going to be very good, and they're going to be really good in the ACC.
At the worst, they are an incredibly tough out. And
Mhm.
we had mentioned this in the preview. They're just pests. dude. Like they're gritty, they're tough, and I thought the biggest way that they would stay in a ball game against a top 15 potent Tech team is by turning them over, and they force a ton of steals. They're going to continue to do that. 14 turnovers
Yep.
for Texas Tech, which I'm sure McCaslin you might take with a grain of salt because of who they were playing. Like Wake Forest does that to teams. But
Yep.
that's how Wake Forest stayed in this game with their defensive intensity. And then also that run that I was referencing, right? Like carried over from the end of the first half. Texas Tech certainly was sloppy, but Wake Forest was getting whatever the hell that they wanted. They were slashing to the rim every single time they touched the ball. 2 feet hit the paint with relative ease. And as we all know, great things usually happen as a result of that. But from the Tech side, I also said this: the 3-point shot is a great equalizer, man. I thought I was watching the Celtics out there with the amount of threes that they put up. And I mean that complimentary. I'm dead serious. If you have shooters, J Man, if you have perimeter shot makers, right? Talked about Atwell, who that's the only thing he does, but also Christian Anderson and a few other guys. Get them up, man. I got no issues with it. And Tech certainly did that. How many threes did they take in this game? They took 35. They didn't shoot at a particularly great clip, but the three ball is the great equalizer, man. They hit 12 threes in a game that they won by one. Like that's what they needed to do. And again, the game has evolved. The game has changed. We've talked about that a bunch of times. Whether or not it's sustainable, I don't know, but it's an incredibly fun brand of hoop. And I think it's something that they should continue to lean into and buy into because, again, if you have the shooters, there's going to be nights where they jack up a ton of threes and they don't fall, probably on the road or something like that. But then there's going to be nights where in Lubbock they're going to be hot as hell, and then usually the water will find its level. I think you're looking for a high 30s, low 40s type of clip. That would be amazing. But I know there's some people out there, J Man, and it's probably because of my exposure to the NBA, how much I love it, and how much like Twitter, it can never be normal about 3-point attempts. That I'm sure the discourse is going to come to college where I'm sure some Tech fans are like, man, we put up way too many threes. I would hazard to say that's a big reason why you won this ball game.
Yeah, I mean, their percentage really was not bad at all because they were 12 of 28 with the guys that were not Lawan Watts and JT Toppin shooting threes. They were 0 of 7 combined. And so everybody else 3 of 8, 3 of 6, 3 of 8, 3 of 6. That's great 3-point shooting. Your shooters are shooting. If I was a Texas Tech fan, I would be like, "Hey, JT, stop shooting the ball from 3. You're 1 for 9 on the season." Melvin Council over there. And then Lawan Watts, he only had 4 attempts on the year going into the game from 3, and he was 0 for 4 in this game. So he had a tough game overall. He was 1 of 9 from the field. So um, you just have shooters everywhere on this team. And then Christian Anderson being a shooter, also a scorer, and then also your facilitator. Yeah, he had 4 turnovers, but he still had 2-to-1 assist turnover ratio. He had 8 assists. So like the guy just he's a playmaker, and he had that big awkward floater in the lane late in the second half. And he's just, I mean, he's one of my guys that I love watching at all times. But uh, their 3-point shooting with Tyree Bryan, Donovan Atwell, Christian Anderson, and then Jalen Petty off the bench. Like I said, he hit that step back three. Colvin hit a three for Wake Forest, put him up 3. And then you get Jalen Petty off your bench to hit a tough step back 3 to tie it back up with 2 minutes to go. Both these teams are tournament teams, and this was a March Madness game. I feel like we're saying that a lot in these game recaps early in the season, but that's what happens when you have the matchups we're having. Just the polar opposite of college football, where they're trying to schedule cupcake non-conferences. The college basketball is so superior in like, hey, let's just play in these tournaments, high leverage opponents, high level opponents, and then non-con true road games. And so I love Feast Week, and this is just a great way to start my basically Feast Week with Wake Forest and Texas Tech.
Yeah. So from the Wake perspective, I don't think I've complimented them 100% just yet, but the balance I thought was something that I was very impressed with. They got contributions damn near all over the board, right? I mean, they were led uh, by Juke, right? Juke Harris was phenomenal in this game, 26 points, uh, 7 and 9 from the stripe, 10 rebounds, right? Like, and Miles Colvin was terrific off the bench. I don't know if that's something where Steve Forbes is like, hey, he's a spark plug off the bench. Maybe he's most comfortable there, but he's certainly good enough to start, I think, on this team. And then like up and down though, like Nate Calmese was solid. I'm still gonna get to Nate Calmese. Makai Mason was solid. Like it was just a very good all around effort from pretty much everyone that got minutes. But J man, this is something that like it's just a bugaboo, man, for me. And I brought it up in the preview. Like Wake is so close. They have 2 losses, I know, this year, but it just seems like that's sometimes like it rears its ugly head. And what I mean by that, we can spot it, okay, in this game. After the timeout with a buck 50 left in the game, Tech forces a loose ball and there it was a jump ball, Texas Tech possession. But like you got to be cleaner in that scenario if you're Wake Forest. You can't put the ball on the ground. And then Nate Calmese, the lob, which you said was a bad decision. It was, right? Either try probably go strong to the rim there, but also if you remember a few plays prior, right, he hit a three and then he followed it up with an insane heat check. The clock may have been winding down, but it was a shot that I think I only would have trust Isaiah Evans
Yeah.
taking. He's fallen out of bounds, and it was just straight air. So some of the decision making, like you just got to be able to put that together. Because think about at the end, we see Wake. They're so bubblicious every single year, J man, and you don't want to get down on yourself this early, but part of me thinks for a program like Wake that's always on the bubble, they're going to look back and say, "Dang, we could have had that win over Michigan, could have had that win over Texas Tech." And those are the small plays, the small margins that eventually see your name getting called on selection Sunday or not.
Yeah, no, I mean you're right, and that's kind of like my buddy texted me during the game or as the game was ending. He's like, "This is just like Steve Forbes, like Wake Forest. Like they're so in terms of just like the outcome is so close to what making that stamped win." And I know they upset Duke a couple years ago, the Filipowski game, but like after that, what we talked about in the preview, it's like well they lost like 3 straight afterwards, and it's just like they're so close to get over that hump to make the tournament, but they could never do it and their 2 losses this year against ranked opponents, they're right there at the very end of the game with a chance to win the game. I mean, even go back further, Juke Harris, phenomenal. I love Juke Harris. He is one of my favorite players to watch in the ACC. He had an outstanding night, but he made 1 or 2 free throws. He could have tied it up to make it 78-78. He missed his second one, or one of them, and it was 77-78. Texas Tech goes down. JT Topping gets fouled. He only makes 1 of 2, but still, that could have been a tie ball game. Instead, it wasn't. And then to your point, the steal, Cal Meese had 6 assists to 1 turnover, and the 1 turnover was the biggest one. You could say 2 turnovers with the step back three where he airballed because I don't think the clock was running out either. I think he just was kind of freaking out and thinking like, I just look, the moment's here, and the moment was, and it came and went. But the lob, it was a 3-on-1. It was he had the guy that he was throwing to, and then he had a trailer, and he was the way he was dribbling on that steal, he was already letting up right at the 3 point line to where the defender knew what he was doing. And that's why it's such a bang bang play at the lob that even if it was body contact, I kind of am fine with the no call because I think it was just a bad read and it would have been a bailout foul. And it's just it's tough for Wake Forest fans that I guess it's glass half full, glass half empty. It's half empty where it's like you're right there. Like you're looking for that signature identity win and you almost had it against Texas Tech. But glass half full is damn, this team is really fun and like
Mhm.
they just keep going. You have something Miles Colvin for off the bench that like you said, I think he's going to be in the starting rotation. I mean, he was 6 of 15, but damn was he impactful. And the 6 rebounds, and my God, if you put a dollar bill on the top of the backboard, he's going to go up there and grab it. I mean, he had a couple punches where I was just like, oh my God. So they're going to be good in the long run. It's just, I understand both reasonings if you're a Wake Forest fan of being happy with this outcome and also being irritated with this outcome.
It's the unenviable position of you just got to do it for me to believe it. You can do it, if that makes sense, right? Like, I got to see you just get over the hump. I got to see you make the NCAA tournament. And that is a large goal. There's a ton of little steps that go into it. And these are part of those steps. These are one of the steps, right? And they're so close, but you can still see like the difference a
Yeah.
little bit, right? Between
Yeah.
like a ranked team that's for sure making the tournament and a team that's just been walking on eggshells almost. And you almost feel like those moments infiltrate the program where, okay, we're in a tight one. let's not lock up. They say let's not blow this, and you end up blowing it, right? As opposed to just it coming naturally. And I'm not trying to put them up against some of the blue bloods or the best teams or the best closers, but you look at teams that are able to just get it done, right? And it's ingrained in them. And I don't think it's ingrained in Wake Forest. It's going to be a process, but they got another stab at it. Let's see how they continue. Hey, real quick before we get out of here, JT Toppin, I think he's hilarious because at one point, and I say hilarious again, complimentary, he was quiet to start the second half, and then he had 4 straight points, and the announcer was like, he's got a game high 16 points. So it's like, oh, hey, we're doing a pretty good job on JT Toppin. He's still balling.
Yeah, I told you off fair, and I'll say it now so Texas Tech fans can come after me. I just don't like watching him try and score basketball. It really bothers me. I just don't know what it is. I think it's just because I love to see a guy that can shoot it. Maybe that's why I love Christian Anderson so much and Donovan Atwell even. Just watching Toppin, it's just if he catches at the top of the key, he's going to rip with his right hand, and then he's going to inevitably spin back to his left and just throw it over top. And it's either going to go right in or it's going to clank off hard as hell. And he's either going to 50-50 chance he gets his own offensive rebound and puts it back in and lays it up. But he is dominant and like in what he does. It's just I just don't like how it looks. Like I am a grade one hater when it comes to watching him just go around the rim. He's at the block, and then he inevitably is going to do the turn little push hook. And look, he was player of the year. So it's just what he does. His facilitating and his rebounding is outstanding. It's kind of like Cam Boozer in a sense of like his passing and his rebounding is great, but the offense is kind of, people can critique it or not like it if they want to. And it's kind of how I am with JT Toppin. It's like, you know what? When I watch that, I just don't know if I like watching it. And I told you, it kind of reminds me of Mark Mitchell when he was at Duke. And not that
That
they're
might get you in
comparable.
trouble.
Yeah, not that I'm going to compare the two because there's completely two different offenses, or yeah, offensive games. But I just remember watching a lefty that would put his head down and try and get to the cup. And obviously, JT Toppin is one of the best players in college basketball. I just am like, I'd rather see Christian Anderson try and take over a game. Personally, personally.
We as a society need to understand that some things are not for everybody, and that's totally okay. I love JT Toppin, but I understand where you're coming from. Like, dude, I'm Indian. I love Indian food. Okay. So when people are like they are so apprehensive to be like, oh, I don't know if I like it's okay if you don't like Indian food. It's not for everyone, man. Like, I'm not judging you.
Fair.
It's totally fine. I think it's great, but maybe it's not for you. But what I would say is you got to try it. And we've seen enough of JT Toppin for someone to form an opinion. I
Yeah.
think that's fair.
Yeah.
Texas Tech ends up getting this victory. They're going to take on Purdue, two teams that I think some of their fan bases would say struggled a little bit, or maybe they didn't have their A game, but both teams are going to need to bring their A game star power out the wazoo for this Purdue Tech game. I cannot wait for it. On the flip side, let's see if Wake can finally close the door with a victory on some of these matchups moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the part where for Wake Forest, Steve Forbes turning the page. This is the ultimate letdown spot in the Steve Forbes Wake Forest team where you were that close and then you lay the egg against Memphis. If you come out and you throttle Memphis and you beat them in its impressive fashion, this Wake Forest team's for real.
I think that's a great way of putting it. We'll see what happens. Regardless, come back here to Sleepers, continue to subscribe, like, watch the videos. We got previews and recaps throughout the entire season. For J-Man, I'm Subi. Thanks for listening. Enjoy Feast Week.